Hey everyone, I'm here to talk today about Unhinged, the sequel to my first book I reviewed, which was Splintered. So there's also something I need to discuss right away. With Splintered, I gave it a review with an actual score, and I forgot to do that for two follow-up books. As you may remember, Splintered I gave a 5 out of 5. I do like to review things out of 5. It's just old process from Netflix and things of that nature. So with the two previous ones, with The Last Olympian, I'd give it a 3.5 to a 4 out of 5. A little more closer to the 4 out of 5. It's got a lot of strengths. It has very few weaknesses other than that it's just a kind of mediocre writing. But the story itself is very good. Blue Sword, I'd probably give it a 5 out of 5. The only thing that I would mark it down at all for is not the story itself, it's just the book that I had that knocks it down a few pegs. As for today's one, Unhinged, well, I will give that to you at the end, but it's a very good story, very well written. I'm going to be very careful with this because there is a lot of spoilers that I may go into. And if you are thinking about or planning to read the first book, I recommend doing that before watching the rest of this review, because quite frankly, just to tell you the basis of the story gives away a lot of the good spoilers from the first book. And the first book has some good twists and some good things about it that I really think you should read first. That's it. I will do my best to do as little spoilage as I can, but some of it's unavoidable. I mean, shoot, the start of the book is she's back at home, and her mom's there. That spoils a lot. That spoils the ending of the first book. But, yeah. But I will go into a little bit of it. So, basically, a year has passed since Alyssa went into Wonderland. Her mom has been released from the hospital and has been living with her. And during this time, she has been dating Jeb. And that, for the most part, has gone well, except for the fact that Jeb is mostly gone. He's always out in London, working through the art community, getting critiques, getting money, basically. He's following his career and his path, which is fine, except it makes Alyssa very jealous and very lonely. But Jeb comes back for her a few days before prom, and she and Jeb are going to prom together, when she is visited in her dreams by Morpheus. Yeah, sorry, double checking the name, because I always forget his name, because I don't... So, Morpheus visits her in a dream, and he's been doing this off and on for the year that she's been gone. But this time, he shows her what Wonderland has become. And Wonderland is becoming a very dark, dangerous, violent place, even more so than it originally was. And he says that he needs her to come back to rescue everyone. And Alyssa is torn because part of her connected with Wonderland, part of her feels she belongs there, and she does want to go and help, but she also chose to come back to Earth and chose to have a normal life. So she's a little torn, but she says, no, I'm going to stay on Earth. I will try and help you at a later point, but I need to be here now. To which Morpheus says, well, if you won't come to save Wonderland, then I will come to you and drag you back, type of thing. So, yeah. So basically Morpheus finds a human body and comes to Earth and he's like, I'm gonna cause trouble for you. He really doesn't. He does what he did in the first book, which is a lot of, I got you in awkward situations where people think we're in a relationship even though we're not. And this will cause drama. This one plays up a lot more of the teenage drama, which I don't like, but it's not as bad as some other books do it. It's definitely no Twilight in that regard. It's just plays it up. Meanwhile, Jeb has been missing for a few days, and it turns out that he has been making these art projects from portions of Alyssa's blood, because Alyssa has found out that her blood can be used in art to make pictures that Morpheus reveals to her, tells the future. Again, super complicated. I have to read the first book to really understand that, and even then it's still convoluted a little bit. But it's... So Jeb has been in a trance, basically, and has been affected by Wonderland magic to paint these murals using her blood, and ends up choking her, and then getting knocked unconscious by Morpheus, who nearly tries to kill him. And they realize that they have to... that Wonderland is actually coming to the human world. It is trying to take over, and they have to fight off a wave of possessed beings. And that's all I'm going to say on the story there. It's very interesting. It's very well written, like the first one. This one is a little more tedious. It's a little hard to get through, but it's not super bad. I think the big problem with this one, and it's something that is what is detrimental to the story and is the reason it's a little slower, is because you spend the entire book going, okay, she's got to go to Wonderland, she's got to get there, this is all about going to Wonderland, and nope, doesn't do it, not in this book. There is one more in the book, which I already know she does go into Wonderland. It's obvious by the end, but yeah, it's all on Earth, and that has moments of interest, but mostly it's just kind of there. There's a lot of strengths to this one. Again, the writing is still very good. The stories are very well written. The characters are, for the most part, really well written and very interesting. The one that I had a problem with in the last book, which was Jeb, I do not have a problem with this in this book. He has none of the flaws that I hated in the first book. He is not an overprotective parent instead of a boyfriend. He is not any other thing. He's actually, I really sympathize with him. If anything, his relationship with Alyssa works really well, except for the fact that Alyssa gets jealous over stupid things. Like the fact that he wants a career and is trying to become successful. And she knows, he's doing this for me. He's doing this so we will have money when I get to London. He's also doing this for his family, but the fact that she is not his only interest, his only concern, bothers her. And again, this happens. This happens in people's brains all the time. This is a normal part of being a teenager and being in love. It's still freaking frustrating to have a character who is smart enough to know this, but still spends a good portion of the first part of the book thinking this, and thinking these things, and not doing enough to squash that urge. There's my other big problem with it is still the love triangle. There's still a love triangle, and it's still played up to death in this one, and that's annoying. Granted, at least now the part of the love triangle is really good. I understand the attraction to Jeb, and the Jeb-Alyssa relationship works very well. The Morpheus side of it is still a little fuzzy. I get that he's in love with her, and I even understand part of it, but he doesn't... It's kind of hard to believe in a love when it's clear that this guy truly just loves himself, and it doesn't seem capable of loving anyone else as much as he loves himself. And Wonderland, as he put it, is like, I love myself in Wonderland, but you are a part of Wonderland, so I love you as much as I love Wonderland. It's like, yeah, no, I don't believe it. I believe he cares. I don't believe he loves her the way he claims. So, on the way we're supposed to believe he does. Again, the characters are very well written. It's like, you get characters that were very much small side characters in the first one, and they get played up a lot. Alyssa's mom becomes a very cool, interesting, very surprising figure, as does her dad. Even though he's still kind of a background character from a good portion of the story. You learn a bit about him, you learn about his history, and it really expands that character, makes it very well. Again, my only problems with this one really are the love triangle and the fact that the story just kind of plods along. It doesn't really have the get up and go of the first story. But it's not, it's also not one of those stories where you just want to put it down and you're like, oh god, please stop. It does not have, it's still a well-written, well-done story, it just is a little slower. But, you know, it's still very good, because to get to the rating side of this, I would give this one a solid 4. It's well written, it's got good story, good characters, good plotline. There's no part in the story where I can't picture the world, I can't picture what's going on. It makes perfect sense, well written. Again, the negatives are few and far between, but they do drag the quality of it. And yeah, that's really all I have to say on this one. I don't want to give away too much more. I plan to do the third one of this, hopefully before the end of the month. My plan, since I'm going to have some free time on my hands over the next few days, I'm hoping to get through 2 or 3 books and post a couple more of these. Can't guarantee that, but we'll see when we see. Other than that, happy reading. I'm glad to see that. I'm very proud of Mom Duda for taking up this month. She's done a great job so far, and I hope you all enjoy the book she's picked. I'm going to read one of those as well. I'm definitely going to at least get through the Scorpion Shards. Hopefully get to Howl's Moving Castle by the end of the month, but we'll see. Other than that, happy reading, and I'll see y'all at the bayou.